Kwite is a YouTuber that started his channel back in 2012. His original channel was named The Central Carnage, where he made gaming skits, and also made a house tour, because all the best YouTubers do that. All his older videos have been either privated or removed entirely. The oldest video by Kwite that is visible is Why You Can't Win Against a Content Cop. As of March 9th, 2018, he did a podcast together with Wild Spartans and FPS Diesel called The Loudmouths, which is mainly about fellow YouTubers. They even had a few big special guests on the podcast, those people being Pyrocynical and Quackity. As of now, the Loudmouths podcast has stopped uploading new episodes. Now, Kwite hasn't always been in the Innocence spotlight, because on June 9th, 2019, an ex-girlfriend of Slazo named Shay posted a tweet longer accusing Slazo of sexually abusing and manipulating her. The post garnered attention with people supporting Shay and wanted Slazo cancelled, including Kwite. But on June 27th, Slazo uploaded a video debunking most of the claims by Shay, where she lied and took things out of context. Many people would forgive Slazo, but Kwite said he wasn't sure what to think of the video and needed to think about it before coming up with a final conclusion. After the apology came out, people found that Kwite was a part of the group of people trying to get Slazo outed. Some of those people included Shay herself, I'm Alex, Weast and Squizzy, and King Annie. One leak posted was Kwite talking with Squizzy and Shay on Discord about posting different versions of the document. Many people would go after these creators, including Kwite, for their acts against Slazo. On July 29th, Kwite posted a tweet longer apologising for his contribution, saying he acted impulsive and bitter. He said he still supports Shay and Slazo, but still isn't sure what his final thoughts are on the drama. Most of Kwite's fans forgave him and appreciated how mature he acted. Now, in February this year, Naya Putin, also known as Orion, posted a tweet longer in which he claims that Kwite had been emotionally and physically abusing him, including but not limited to rape, transphobia, and gaslighting. I found Kwite's channel when he had less than 500 subscribers, and as a teenager wanted to make art for him because he didn't use his face in his videos. I thought he would have an easier time. He wore sunglasses and a face mask instead of manually keying his face out with a black box. At first, we were extremely close, in ways that helped the both of us. He shared bits of his past, and I shared mine. However, slowly my status as an artist would land on me more, YouTuber circles than his would, and would slowly try to encourage me to let him join said spaces. As a friend, I of course wanted to include him in as many as I could, but as I did, he made various connections outside of me. Eventually, we met up in real life a few times. I had transphobic parents, so I told him my dead name to use only when my parents were talking to him, but after knowing this information, he would use it in a way to belittle me. The first meeting was fine, but he had a rule that I wasn't allowed to take any pictures of him, but he was allowed to take pictures of me. The second meeting, however, was different. We had planned to meet up while he was at a vacation in my city, and thus I would pick him up in my car, and we would both go to a trampoline park and go to see Black Panther. This is where the worst of his behaviour occurred. At this time, we were both on and off, flirting, and discussed that if we are both single at the time, we could take each other's virginity. However, once he had come onto me in the back seat of my car, I started to get cold feet. He, however, did not want to take no for an answer. In the back seat of my own car, he raped me. All the while I was telling him how it hurt and how I didn't want this anymore. He kept telling me this is what you wanted as he went, but soon got bored of it and just got out. I sat in the car by myself for a bit before going to join him in the movie we had planned to see together, and to make up, he had me buy him popcorn. I put the event out of my mind as just two virgins being bad at sex and hung out with him for the rest of the day, as he was still one of my closest friends. A few months later, once he had gained quite a few more subscribers and larger YouTuber friends, he would start ghosting me more, all while I was having a BPD episode, and in our fight, he called me a dyke who thinks she's a boy and will never be. Months passed, and when I tried to come out about the emotional abuse I suffered, I received harassment from his fans. I received calls to my house to tell me to kill myself, furthering my poor mental health. I was able to set up a call to reconnect with him. In this call, he tried to gaslight me further, claiming that I led him on, or worse, assaulted him instead, all in front of a mediator who thankfully knew better than to believe him. In this call, he screamed at me, threw things and broke things, and continued to try to gaslight me. However, thanks to Danny, he calmed down and apologised for some of his behaviour. However, I don't believe it was sincere. I'm truly sorry that I stayed silent on this issue for years, but I cannot keep silent. I've been scared for myself and how the public will treat me, but I am too scared that I am not the only victim to keep silent anymore. Anyone who may have also been victimised is more than encouraged to DM me, and I hope you are doing okay. I know that many of you will not believe me, and I don't care anymore. For those who do, thank you for your ear, and I hope that you stay safe. This resulted in the shutting down of Kwite's Discord server, due to each channel being flooded with messages and the moderators ignoring them. One Discord moderator, Kishisun, privated on Twitter and started distancing themselves from Kwite. Another Twitter user claimed to be Orion's partner, and that they witnessed firsthand the damage that Kwite had done to Orion, and that Orion still had PTSD from the situation. In a reply to the original tweet longer, Orion also posted an Imgur link containing some Discord messages showing Kwite flirting to him and Kwite's exposed face. The last tweet Kwite made as far as February 23rd is a tweet made just hours ago before the accusation, with no connection to it. On the same day, the Twitter user YouLeadMeTTA posted another claim that one of Kwite's Discord moderators moderators had groomed them when they were only 15, and that Kwite dismissed the situation and even sent their information to the said Discord moderator. This Twitter account has now gone. On one of Kwite's Discord moderators' Twitter profile, she put #StandWithOrion in her bio, despite the majority opposition from the rest of the Discord moderators. During the situation, Kwite's fandom page was hijacked. YouTuber Michael Alberto talked to Orion on Twitter about getting the authorities involved in the situation. He said the statutes of limitations had passed in his state and that the situation crossed state lines, which can be difficult for a conviction. He also noted that Kwite gaslit into not telling his family. He also noted that he did not do a rape kit, which reduces the chance of conviction. He gets advice from different lawyers that told him the same thing, that Kwite has a lot more money, so the court battle isn't a winning one. Kwite states that he's quiet right now and that he didn't deactivate his Discord account, and a statement from him will be released in a few days. After 2 weeks, Kwite has released an hour-and-a-half video addressing all of Iron's claims. In this video, Kwite is addressing everything and showing DM proof with most things he says. Kwite touches on a subject that most people would love to avoid. He mentions how at the age of 24 he is still a virgin and had never had intercourse with Orion. In fact, Kwite shows how it was mostly Orion who was pushing to do things. Kwite even states in this video that he is even uncomfortable with hugging someone. Orion in her original tweet longer says that Kwite had raped him, that Kwite then made Orion pay for snacks at the theatre, but Kwite shows in DMs the day before they had literally met. Kwite offered to buy the snacks in the first place. Kwite also shows DMs of them two going back and forth, Orion refusing to take the money from Kwite, and Kwite refusing to take the money from Orion. After an hour of them messaging, Orion says that if Kwite pays, then he will smooch them, and Kwite in his video states that he didn't want that and even says that in the DMs, but Orina still insists that they want to kiss Kwite, when he had already said no, but in a nice and playful way. From Orina's original twit longer, it was made out that one of the only main reasons Kwite wanted to meet him was to have sex, while Kwite also shows in his DMs that Orina was the only one wanting to push it forward to become something like that. There were even times where Orina had asked Kwite to come down to where they are for them to meet up for a hookup, and Kwite straight up said no. Orina mentions the fact that Kwite has performance issues, and that is probably the reason to why he is saying no. So from looking at this standpoint, someone that has performance issues and is the main reason to why they are still a virgin would make it a bit harder for Kwite to force Orina into doing something they don't want to do. If it is already an issue with consent, without consent is something that would be impossible for Kwite to even do. And it is a shame that these personal issues had to come out like all this. Kwite also points out how Orina has mentioned them going to see Black Panther before, and note that he struggles to mention the sexual activity they apparently got into. Now if you're thinking that maybe he didn't want to overshare, you are wrong, because what he did end up doing is to talk about Kwite's mental health problems and other things he faced, such as self-harm.
I wasn't his best friend, but I was one of his closest. I helped him through self-harm, which I'm still susceptible to.
And Kwite points out how this was never out in the public, until Orina made it public. What's even more strange is the fact that Orina uses the fact that he has a lot of stuff they could use against Kwite, like their personal information and other things people would like to stay quiet.
So after he didn't respond to Discord messages, I texted him on his phone because I had his phone number, as well as I'd met his parents, I had his address. I have a lot of secrets on him because we were best friends.
This was obviously to get Kwite back, in a real nasty and dare I say, evil way. Orina also gets the timeline of events of them even meeting wrong by an entire year. He claims that they met in early 2016, but is easily proven to be a lie when their earliest Discord convos goes back to 2017. And in Orina's original twit longer, they even say themselves 2017. This becomes even more laughable when he says that they know it was in February 2017 when they met the second time, because that is when they saw Black Panther.
We met up in February of 2017. Cut to February where we met up for the second time, and I remember it was February because we went to see Black Panther.
Black Panther came out in February 2018, thus proving they got the dates completely wrong with these events. So with everything Orina said about Kwite being false, it also makes her doxing his face completely pointless, since there was no proper reason except for spitefulness. Orina's lies become more apparent as we go on. Orina states after he put out the original twit longer that Kwite had disabled his Discord account. This was proven to be another lie when Kwite posted a message onto his Discord server announcing that he will be responding soon, and this was the same account they used back in 2017 to message on, since the account was never gone. When he realizes that they were caught out on this lie, they just double down and say it was to hide their side of the DMs with him. Again, in the original twit longer, Orina says that Kwite called them a dyke to be transphobic. Since it is hard for Kwite to prove he didn't say this since those Discord DMs don't exist, he shows a DM where Orina calls themselves a dyke, and Kwite tells them how this isn't true. After a lot of stress Orion put upon Kwite, he started to distance himself towards him. Orion makes it out it's because Kwite was becoming big on YouTube, and that that's why he was distancing himself, where the truth was because Kwite didn't want to be involved with someone that was essentially making him worry 24 hours a day and constantly telling them that they are suicidal. And Kwite shows how he started ignoring him way before he became big on YouTube. To show how petty Orina was becoming against Kwite, a smaller YouTuber that goes by the name of Progress made a video against Kwite, just going after him, while Orina began to see the video and tried to befriend this person publicly on Twitter. This was on their old Twitter, which is why the only screenshot is Progress replying to himself. People are comparing this situation to the one where Slazo was called a rapist by Kwite, Alex, and a bunch of others. And while it is like a type of cruel karma coming back to get him, no one deserves to have fake allegations against them.
A lot of people have brought up the Slazo situation from back in 2019 during this whole thing, saying that it's ironic I was part of pushing those allegations and now I'm suffering my own, like it's karma coming around. And I mean, on some level, I can't really say they're wrong. I don't mean in the idea that I knew the allegations were always fake and I was trying to use them to end his career. I did not do that and I never would knowingly. I'm not certain where the idea of me being malicious in that situation first came from, but I'd been approached by someone I trusted and had other people I trusted vouching for them, and the evidence I'd seen at the time made me believe someone I knew had done something horrible.
Kwite felt like he was misled in that situation, as he explains in this video. He explains how he never wanted to end Slazo's career. Orina had posted some stuff on Twitter stating that he is having some mental health problems and shows a document to prove it, only for it to be a fake document and even it being copy and pasted and even saying the same thing more than once. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe and watch my podcast. I've been Wacky TV, and until next time, Kwite is innocent.